Welcome to another show of the SSE Show. Hey, it's Kentucky Derby week, folks, and no one bigger and better than Kentucky Derby winner and Hall of Fame horse trainer Jack Van Berg tonight. Hey, Van Berg won the Kentucky Derby in 1987 with Ali Sheba. Incredible. You've won 5,000 races. Thanks for joining the show, first off. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me on here. Very good.
First off, I mean, you talk about the biggest events in the world. I've covered the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the biggest stuff, the NBA Finals. Kentucky Derby is right up there, as big as any of them. What's it like to actually win and be the top of your game in one of the premier events?
Well, Chris, it's
Hello? We went off the air for a sec, folks.
Hello?
You there, Charles?
What just happened?
I don't know.
It just said server error.
Yeah, I've never had that happen before.
This is a wild night.
I think I'm jinxing this.
No. Okay, we're back.
It still says it's preparing the broadcast. It's stuck at 99%.
We're on air right now, folks.
No, we're not.
It says on air. Jack, can you hear us okay?
He's muted again.
You're muted. The little button up there on the right.
It's still preparing the broadcast. It's not live again. I'm on the YouTube channel watching it.
Huh. This has never happened before, Jack. Oh, well. We'll
It
ad
just
lib.
reminded me of Duck Dynasty. All right, Jack.
Huh. Interesting. We've only done about 50 of these.
Yeah, well, the 51st. It's a
Oh, well.
doozy.
That's technology. Bear with us, Jack. Is Tracy around? Because there's a little microphone up there that you need to click. You're muted.
You might want to just call her. Were you just muted because you were typing?
No.
Okay, we are going back live again.
No, hold on. We can't go live until his microphone's back on.
Yeah, in fact, it recorded everything that just happened.
Huh. So we have a 15-second show, or?
No, it's up to 2 minutes and 33 seconds.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah,
we're back on live right now?
Yes.
Okay, so folks, apologize. You know, sometimes that happens. Oh well, that's technology. You got to roll with the punches. So we've got to get Jack's microphone up. So let's get that going. Jack,
I'm
can you
calling
hear
him
us?
right
Wait,
now.
what's that?
I'm calling them right now.
He's gone. This is wild. There we go.
Okay, we on?
On, you sound good.
You hear me now?
We hear you, but that's okay. All right, folks, we're back live. Apologize for that, and that's technology. Oh well. Here we go. So you were talking about your. Let's just dive right back into this. That's the way I roll. So you were talking about your dad and how emotional that was. Why was that emotional? And tell a little bit of history of you and your dad and stuff.
Well, Chris, the book that we just published about my father and I, you'll find out when he started out a farmer in Nebraska. And in the book, we will tell you. And then he started out in the livestock business. And he built a livestock auction that looked like the Taj Mahal out in the middle of a field. And then one horse, he come upon one racehorse that the guy left at the sale barn. And he started winning, and then he won 4,700 races as an owner, led the country for 14 years. And I was blessed by the good Lord to come up under him. He was the best teacher, the best horseman. And I won 6,400 some races. And it's just, when you get to the Derby, that is as far up the mountain as you can get.
And here's your book for everybody out there. Good looking book. How long did it take you guys to put this together? What's some of your favorite stories in the book?
Well,
And the book, by the way, is called From Grit to Glory. Jack, From Grit to Glory, a lifetime of mentoring, dedication, and perseverance. It says you're an American horse racing legend. How does that sound to you?
Sounds like I'm old. That's the best way I can say it. It started out, I've had a lot of people ask me to write a book about my life. It's been quite colorful. I was quite successful at one time. But I was never happy with them, never satisfied with them. And Chris Dulac is from Nebraska. And I seen an article one day that he wrote, and I really liked the article, liked the way he had it written and everything. And so I approached him and I said, Chris, I said, would you be interested in writing my book? I said, I've had people ask me, but I've never been satisfied. He said, give me about 10 days, a week, 10 days, and let me think it over and take a look. So he come back to me and he said, yeah, Jack. And that was in June of 2010. And it was just, he started in and he did research. I mean, when my great-grandparents come from Europe over here, and when my dad was 12 years old, riding a horse and leading 10 of them head and tail to the sale barn. His dad had him doing it, and then he had my mother doing it, and she had 6 children and a farm, no hospital or plumbing or nothing. First kids in our life, and it's just how strong my dad was, and he worked me. And one of his greatest sayings was, "You'll never learn any younger." So, by the time I was 16 years old, I was driving semis down 2-lane roads hauling horses. It goes on through, and I just kept going on, and then my family coming along in the horse business and training too, my children, and then I got in that ranch deal in California and got cheated by some money people and kind of ruined my life then. So it goes through from the grit and up to the glory, and as I say, back to the grit again.
All right, we got Melanie here. Obviously, she's wearing you like her Kentucky Derby hat? She grew up, her family doing horses and stuff. Melanie, tell a little bit about yourself, how you grew up in that, and then what your question is. You're muted. You're muted. Put the mute button.
Now I'm not muted. Thank
There
you.
you go.
My first Google Hangout, everyone. So
Awesome.
I'm from Oklahoma. My grandfather raced horses from the smallest tracks in, Arapahoe, Oklahoma, to Rio Dosa Downs and what have you, So that's a little bit of the background. And I always wanted to ride the racehorses when he retired them, but he always told me no, it's too dangerous. So anyway, Jack, question: I know you had your horses that won and the big winners, but what was your favorite horse that you trained of all time?
Well, I love every horse I come in contact with. I've always told everybody if I like whiskey like I like the horses, I'd be the biggest drunk in the world. But I love every horse, and I figure if you're a training horse and you don't get the best of his potential out of him, then you're not a good horseman. But the two best horses that I ever had was Ali Sheba and Gate Dancer. Gate Dancer had some problems, and we solved them with the hood and everything on them. And that is a real good feeling when you take a horse that's got so much talent, but you're not getting him out until you buy something that is. And that's when I put the earmuffs on him and the sponge inside of the earmuff to cut out the sound. He went on one of the biggest, got beat 2 noses at the Breeders' Cup, $3 million race. So, but Ali Sheba was so much talent. He just had so much talent. If that horse would have raced as a 5-year-old, I don't think anybody would have ever beat him. He matured so fast.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. All right, Charles, producer, has a question.
Yeah, hey, Jack. I was actually wondering, how many Kentucky Derbies have you missed since you won?
Well, I don't think I've had a horse in the Kentucky Derby since Ali Sheba.
No, he meant do you go every year?
No, I don't go to the Derby unless I have a horse. I don't.
I see.
Okay, but you're at Kentucky right now, right?
Yeah, I was here with the book, signing the book at the museum.
Okay.
The book, and I'll be at Grand Island, Nebraska, at Fowler Park. That's my home country on Saturday.
Where are you going to be signing this book at? Or are you already done?
Racetrack, Charles, in Grand Island, Nebraska.
What do you think about horse racing now? What do you think about the industry?
Well, I think we have the greatest sport there is, bar anybody. I think the marketing has fell down. In the old days, the horse racing was the only game in town, so you didn't have nobody to compete with. And nowadays, you've got football, you've got baseball, you've got basketball, you've got PBR, the rodeo, bull riding, you got NASCAR. You got all the casinos where they can go gamble. They don't charge to get in the casinos. They give you free drinks. They give you free food if you gamble. A lot, they give you a free room to sleep in. So we've not changed our marketing like it should be. I mean, and it's nothing more beautiful than a set of good horses running down through that stretch, neck and neck. And there's nothing more beautiful. But you've got to let the public feel part of it. NASCAR has done a great job of promoting. They let the fans come into the pits and see the drivers, see what they're doing. PBR bull riding has come up to their stands are packed. They let the fans down in the arena after the thing and meet the bull riders and see what goes on. This is what horse racing has to do. They have to be close to it, and they have to feel part of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you know what, you get someone close. That's what we're doing at Lone Star Park. Lone Star Park created a social media press box, which I give them a lot of credit for, that we were part of. And we had people down there, and we're taking photos, and we're giving people total access, and it's really taken off, to your point. So we've taken that NASCAR approach. So I'm glad you said that. It's just a real thrill to be down there.
Just let me tell you something. I was leading trainer at East Darvin in Omaha, Nebraska for 19 years. Every Sunday morning, my barn was full of people, and other trainers' barns were full of people to come out and look at horses, pet horses that they bet on. After church, they would come out. It was a great gathering every Sunday morning. And then they moved all the barns and put them in behind the fence. At no time did I have anything stolen with it. It was free for the public to drive through. They put them behind the fence, and then I had things stolen out of the barn after that. But the public couldn't, you know, you're in prison. You're behind the walls.
Right. So, what do you recollect? What are your most fond memories? Tell us a little about, we're here to talk about your book as well. Tell us some of the funnier stories in the book that people can relate to.
Well, One of them that'll make you laugh is, well, I don't know about the people relating to, but when I got Ali Sheba ready for his 4-year-old year, we missed a race at Santa Anita because it was muddy, and I'd asked Mr. Kilrow, the director of racing, and I said, you know, Mr. Kilrow, that track's rolled down and it's sealed, and I really don't want to run this horse. He said, Jack, if he was my horse, I wouldn't, which I really respected that man because he was a big drawing card. So Hollywood Park, when they had the first Breeders' Cup in 1984, they made that track 1.8 miles. So I'm got to go straight into the Stroop Stake, 1.25 miles after laying up, coming out in his 4-year-old year. So I told Chris McCarron, I was forgetting about the track being 1.8 miles. So I said, we'll break off the quarter pole. We're going to work him 1.25 miles, and I'll hook the horse in with you down to the turn. And then I'll hook another one in, pull that one up, down to the next turn, and then I'll hook the third horse in with him, finish down the lane. Well, I got my stopwatch, and he beat all 3 horses. That's how good he was. He just, no matter what you hooked in, he'd beat him. So I look at my watch after the work. I said, my God, he went slow. Told Chris to get a good work in. A little bit later, I'm looking at my watch, you know, I'm still thinking, geez, that's slow. Well, I worked him 1 3/8 instead of 1.25 miles, and he still beat him. That's the farthest he won a race, but he won the Stroop by him. In his whole career, that's the farthest he ever won. But it tells about stories in the book about, I had like already 3 children, but I never smoked in front of my dad, and I got done auctioneering, and well, I'll tell you first, I got an academic dismissal when I was in college with 1/4, didn't make the grades, and I come home on a Saturday night and work in the sale ring, and he made me get up, of course, when I was a kid practicing auctioneering. Turned the lights on and the microphones on and practice auctioneering, and about 10 o'clock one Saturday night, he said, get up here and auctioneer. And I was never forget, it's in the book, I was selling this old cow at $13 going by dimes per 100. And when I got to 13, 10, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, I got to 14, I skipped $1 and I said 15 because I was nervous. It was hard to get my breath. And he bumped me and he said, son, you jumped $1. And right over that microphone, I said, oh shit, right over that microphone. He says, you don't talk like that here, young man. So my first deal at auctioneering, and then I never smoked in front of him, and I got done auctioneering one night and had a sandwich and go back to the barn. I thought he went to the house, and I was carrying a cup of a cigarette in my hand, and I walked in the office, and he was standing there. They called him back to the office for some problem they had, and I put that cigarette out and just crushed it in my hand. I didn't even feel it burn. So some of them stories are in the barn, in the book, and things that happened, and a bunch of the races that we won, and stake racing and stuff.
Okay. We got a couple more minutes. Melanie, you had one more question? Muted, Melanie.
Sorry, my dog was barking. I had to mute for a minute.
Yeah.
So, Jack, who's your favorite jockey you've ever worked with?
Well, to me, I've got 5, 6 top riders, but Lafitte Pinkai was the strongest jockey that I ever put on a horse. Larry Snyder won a jillion races from my father. He won a jillion from me. He give you 110% every time. Eddie Delahousie, Chris McCarron were great riders. But Lafitte Pinkai, when he would go down the stretch and the horse would end up, he would have to be stand there and catch his breath when he'd bring him back because he was so strong riding the horse.
Oh, wow.
Great gentleman he was. So that would be mine that I trained. That mare Zenyatta was, that mare, I had a great horse out of Sheba, but that mare won 19 in a row. And I cried every time I watched her. A guy made fun of me one day because I had big tears run down my eyes watching her run. But she was so great.
What horse was that?
Zenyatta. She won
Zenyatta.
19. She beat the boys in the Breeders' Cup. That new CD just came out. Zenyatta got that song on it about her too.
Oh, wow.
It's a CD.
Well, folks, you just listened to a Hall of Famer, Kentucky Derby winner, Jack Van Berg, and now, you ready to hear this one? You probably know this. An author, maybe an award-winning author. Here's his book, folks. Man, congratulations to all your success. The book is called Jack from Grit to Glory, a lifetime of mentoring, dedication, and perseverance. Folks, they're calling him an American horse racing legend. Congratulations on everything you've done. Really appreciate your time. And thank you also for fighting through that. That's technology in this day and age. Sometimes it happens. But this is your first Google Hangout, so you did great. What do you think of it?
I like it. I really like it. It's good. And Charles probably knows where you can get this book on the Google From Grit to Glory.
You can go to Jack from Grit and Glory, grittoglory.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the weekend. I know you're going to be watching the Kentucky Derby. Do you have a prediction? Do you have a pick?
I like that horse, the Shug McGay. He's Chris Orb. I like him. I think that horse is bringing Shug to the Derby instead of Shug bringing him, because Shug knows a good horse, and he don't come here just with he comes with a gun loaded. He don't come nowhere with an empty gun. That horse, Norbert Invasion, come in the wood flying the last part, and his gallop out was very strong. And Kenny McPeak told me that Frack Daddy, he loves him the way he's been coming up to the race. So
okay, some good picks here.
But I want to tell you this, Chris, I'd be a jockey if I had to make my money gambling, because I'd started that. So I'm not good.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and thank you, Tracy, in the background. Thank you for helping out as well.